Hey everybody, how's your fucking Friday doing today? Oh, man, mine just couldn't be any more ironically better. Woo! Man, what a nice kickoff to a weekend. Oh, hope you're all doing well, chat. DJ, I see you're in there. Whoop whoop to you too. Oh man, well, I got an insane amount of luck. Thanks to Rob Barefoot over at Artelsorian. They were kind enough to get me on the press list. And, well, I got sent an early review copy of Interface Volume 4, which I spent all day putting into a presentation. Eh, all days, maybe milking it a bit. Definitely took a couple hours. But I was high as well, you know, floating in between it a bunch. Either way. I also went and picked up a couple of games on Steam as well because they were on sale, and a project that I was hoping to get into that I thought I was going to end up having to buy a plane ticket for. Ended up saying I wasn't worth their time, so well, I guess I can save my money that way. Oh yeah, I definitely with a special treatment. Honestly, these last couple days, man, DJ, I'm telling you, these last couple days, they're the kind of days when you make you wonder if karma's real, and that if all this minuscule bad shit just keeps hitting you, that just keeps building up, to lead to hopefully something good, or if it's just your luck of the draw. What games did I pick up? See here, I picked up Uncle Chop's Rocket Shop because I know that Binary was telling me that that was one that I really should play, and they apparently really enjoyed it. The other one I got was Clair Obscure Expedition 33. I don't know if I'm playing it tonight. I think I might play it next weekend or something. I'm unsure. I don't know if I want to do one big long playthrough or be doing like spurts of it. You know what I mean? I'm unsure at the time. But what I can tell you is that I did get it. Oh, you're looking out for me for it. Oh, you got some of that Karmic Force too, DJ? Find a phone, give it back to the owner. They try to give you some money, which you turn down. Where's your karmic reward? Well, I mean, the money was your karmic reward. If we want to be honest here, if someone offered to give you money, if you didn't ask for money and they just offered to give you money for finding it for them, you should have taken it. That was the karmic reward. You get an ethical reward. I'll give you that stamp. If I can make you a badge, I'll give you ethics. DJ, you get an ethical reward for being the better person and not taking that money. But karmically, yeah, it was that money was the karmic reward. You should have just taken it. You want me to finish Act 1 of Clair Obscure tonight? That's what you're asking for? DJ, how long is that going to take? I want to know. How long is it going to take to do Act 1 of Expedition 33? 4 to 5 hours? Oh, boy. All right. DJ, I will do the first act of Expedition 33 for your karmic reward for being a kind person and giving back someone's phone. But if that's the case, then we need to delve into doing Volume 1 first. Sorry, not Volume 1. We need to do the Volume 4 of Interface Red that just came out first, so we can get that knocked out. I'm also going to need a joint later on. Where the fuck is everybody? I thought there'd be more people here. Oh well. I guess it's just going to be you and me chilling tonight, DJ. That's cool. You keep chat fun anyways. Alright. Let's see if Stoned Retro Brain set this up right. What is it? Where do we go? And that's it. Alright. Alright. Fingers crossed that I didn't fuck this up. Hey, look, I didn't fuck it up. Awesome. Fucking killing it. Stoned Retro is better than non-stoned retro. Okay. So, we've got the new Interface Red. It's Volume 4. What does that mean? It's the newest thing that's coming out for Cyberpunk Red of the TTRPG, which us here at No Latency are not shy to. Within Volume 4, there are several sections. We've got Hornet's Pharmacy, Black Chrome Plus, Achievements and Loot Boxes, Stickball, the dreaded Punk Knot, Corporate Con Parts and Studio Apartments, the Scream Sheets for Halloween, 12 Days of Gear Mess, and the one that everybody is the most excited for, Cyber Fists of Fury, which adds 23 new martial arts for Cyberpunk Red that everyone has been going bananas over. Where'd that go? I need to move this so I can at least see during chat. Now, the thing that a lot of people, I don't know if they talked about it yet, but I'm going to go ahead and just get ahead of the game before people start making complaints. With this particular one of the Volume 4, quite a few of these chapters are already free DLCs that you can get from the Artelsorian page. It is true. Yes. The Pharmacy, Loot Boxes, Stickball, Punk Knot, and Gear Miss are all already ones that you can download for free. However, Artelsorian has put them all together in one here instead of having to make them all individual for out of ease, as well as for the additional input that they added to it. Sorry, I've got a bunch of tree pollen in my nose, and it is bad. I'm all stuffed up from it. So aside from that, I will be going over those ones still, but trust me, I went over the whole thing. I read it back to back because I got it this morning very early from Rob, and honestly, it's really good. I'm probably going to end up buying my own because it drops today, actually. You can go and you can buy it at DriveThruRPG right now, and I think it's about like $10, which is actually, I feel, a pretty fair price. Like I said, I know some of these are free, DLC already that Cyberpunk has put out, so you can get those without having to pay for it. But in all honesty, if it's stuff that you enjoy and stuff, I feel it is a fair price, just to at least help be able to put out for more free DLC in the future, you know. So we'll get to the first one. Hornet's Pharmacy. Now, with Hornet's Pharmacy, they have 4 new street drugs with both primary and secondary effects. Oh, you know what? What am I doing? I don't even have any music playing to go along with this. There we go. That should be better. Won't be as boring. Oh, God. So, we got 4 new street drugs with both primary and secondary effects. You also get 3 additional, what they're calling compounds, which, you know, honestly, this has been around at least for, what, I think 6 months now. This did come out pretty late last year, but I have yet to hear a lot of people talking about using some of these compounds for some of this stuff. There's a lot of stuff in these DLCs that I don't think people are taking advantage of. On top of that, you do get new pharmaceuticals for the medtechs. Any of you that have your own favorite medtech out there being played wise, you can use to add on to what's already in the core. Again, super cool to add to. That's one of the few things that I think I've already heard so far of additions to any of these particular roles, getting that kind of addition. I haven't heard one yet for Tech Fixer. I know Netrunner got some. Solo hasn't gotten any. Rocker Boy hasn't gotten any. Laman's been forgotten. Media's been forgotten. So, you know, good on you, medtechs, for getting some more drugs to make out there. There's also some pretty cool cyber gear and cyberware that you got. I was just looking at it now. I should have went and got some of this beforehand, because they got auto injectors now that you can get for like just 100 eddies, which is super fucking awesome. You can actually use an auto injector internally for your cyberware to be able to give you something like one of the medtech pharmaceuticals if you get a critical injury, to then just auto heal you off the bat, which is pretty fucking sweet. They also have what they call the Pursuit Security Incorporation gas jet, which is interesting. You can get it as, is it just a cyber arm? When I read this over, I thought it also came with a shotgun, but it looks like it's just a cyber arm where you can shoot aerosol gas up to 3 doses of a street drug or poison biotoxin kind of deal. It can be concealed successfully without using a check. Mechanically though, it does also act as a one-handed exotic shotgun, but it only has 1 shot, which is very interesting. So that actually could be a pretty good option of being able to have, whether it be for a player character or if you wanted to make for a villain, hardened mook or boss, giving somebody an aerosol gas launcher for a cyber arm might actually be something very interesting to have your players go up against. Next one we got is Black Chrome Plus. This is supposed to be adding in a few more items and lore from the original source book of Black Chrome, which they didn't have enough space for, but they wanted to be able to bring back in for everybody. With Black Chrome Plus, they do add a new night market, which is Molly's. This section is called Molly's Door Prize, where they do have new types of ammo, new weapons, and new armor to be able to be sold, as well as a few other. I'm calling them character comfort items. As one of the things that they have is like a drink. There's a literal drink that you can have. They do treat it like a street drug. It's called Piranha Smash. Costs you about 10 eddies. But it's just like a regular Smash already, just regular alcoholic Smash, but it's been upgraded by a tech, which is all you really need. You just need a can of Smash and a tech, and they just can make a Piranha Smash, which is pretty funny. So out of the back, I can just make Piranha Smash because I'm a tech, which is pretty cool. I should probably ask Ping to see if I can get a job on the side. The one that makes me, the thing that makes me laugh, and if I ever got to start running a game as a GM, although I might even ask Binary this just to see what they say, just because I found this now. One of the things that Maui sells is called a Solo of Fortune body pillow, and for just a measly 100 eddies, you can get a body pillow featuring images of some of the famous solos of the 2020 era, right? You've got your Morgan Blackhands, you've got your Boa Whalens, and of course, they've even got the extra large edition Atom Smasher, all right? Most of the body pillows are 20 by 54 inches, but the Atom Smasher model is very, very large, so it does reduce the number of people in the housing options sometimes. The Atom Smasher one you technically could use as a couch. It's that fucking big. They try to make it as life size as possible. So in addition to having Molly's Market, they did add some extra visuals for your basic fashion types. You know, bag lady chic, your gang colors, generic chic, bohemian, leisure wear. Honestly, to me, I feel like this is probably the weakest of the section for it, because it's really just more of art of what you could of what you would perceive fashion wear to be. It doesn't really add much more to it. They are very nice. The visuals for it are really good. Honestly, the art's done by Diego Martinez and Hunt Tang, as well as Dan Harkiel and Sebastian Zimid. Like, the art is fantastic. When I say it's weak, I feel like maybe it would have been nice to add a bit more lore to it. I know maybe some people might not feel it is interesting, but I think for certain characters or people who want to try to build characters, having a little bit more of like why the fashion styles are like that and why they're called that kind of deal makes it more interesting. Definitely helps add to anybody of, you know, a type of role-playing kind of deal, or for GMs and trying to make their own kind of world building. So that's why I say that it's the most weak. The thing that after that, though, they do add something for the actual linear exosuits and internal suits, which is really good. So I remember in Black Chrome that they added them, where they're like, oh, now you can have these linear frames, but again, like, didn't really describe what they were, so everybody was just very much going off of like what one picture looked like and was like, all right, I guess they're all just that, but there's a Sigma, a Beta, and an Omega version. But they have changed it from that. So like with the external Sigma, I wish I could actually show you some more pictures too, but I was in talking with Artel Sorian, one of the things they'd asked was like limit some of the stuff that I was showing, because they don't want me showing any full pages of the book, and I know I'm fucking stupid, and I probably will. So I took it upon myself to not cause myself that issue. But like for your external, so like very much of having external frames is very much the same. The external Sigma is very much of like, what's it? Like the regular body arm suits of like exoskeletons that you see nowadays that are being built by like Boston Mechanics and such. And they're saying like with the internal Sigma is like, it's hard to hide. There's like scarring that you can tell, but it's quite possible. Now when you get with like the beta is more of your chunky boys, like that big round orange suit. Yeah, the one that looks like a more rounded version of the auto loader that Ripley was using in Aliens. That's your beta. Internal, having it internal wise is much harder to hide that you might have that. So, good luck with that. They do say that it is what does it say here? A DV9 Cybertech check. Not to mention, if your body, because your body has to be high enough for it, I'm pretty sure you'd still be showing off with that kind of. I lost my train of thought. Ow. Oh. I'm coming down from the last joint. This is terrible. Oh, I need to smoke another joint so I get back in the game. Hold on. Oh shit, I don't have one around here. I'll just have a gummy. Hold on. I think that's enough. Oh. I don't remember what was that. Talking about the linear suits. Then they talk about for the Omegas, which are pretty much power armor. Your linear exo frames are going to be power armor, and you can't hide it if you have internally. You're just pretty much full on Borg if you're going to have internal linear frames of an Omega standard. Oh, okay, we're on this one. That's pretty much the most of what you get out of Black Chrome Plus chapter of the book. Now, this one I think most GMs should start applying to that we're about to go to. The achievements and loot boxes. This one is actually, I think, a really great idea to challenge a lot of your Edgerunner teams now. Because there are certain challenges that they have from a legendary fixture called Mr. Amaze, otherwise known as Mystery Reward Achievements, making you attain the zenith of existence. The rule system they have for it's really great too, since they really don't have an inspiration system built in the Friday night firefight system. They do have this the sense of kind of connecting into gamers' brain now on our love of just getting achievement and loot boxes. So when a team of your favorite Edgerunners complete one of these achievements that they have here, or you can even make your own, you can give them a loot box, which they do give you GMs a bunch of tables to be able to pick from. Some of the achievements that you can get is like 15 minutes of fame, which is you reaching reputation level 7. Another achievement is flatlined, if you have a funeral for a dead player character. Ground Zero. Stand in the ruins of Arasaka Towers. Dirty Duck. Bathe in a bathtub filled with at least 100,000 eddies in cash. Inner Peace. Recover at least 14 points of humanity via therapy over 1 or more sessions. Now you can have them go by character if you want, or you can have them do it by team, whichever you feel is fair. GMs out there, but there is several boxes. Oh hey, Time Bite, glad to see you here. So there's several boxes you can do within the loot box system that they have of the Tables of Mystery. Let your players roll a d10, and you can get from one that's box bound tightly in rope, to a box dripping wet with fluid, to a box sealed with a lipstick kiss. And then each one of those has its own table for rolling a d6. Items that go all the way out to the DLC and even Black Chrome itself. So if you're ever feeling like you're not giving your players enough, firepower, ammunition, or stuff in the game, I highly suggest using this system. It definitely, I think, will have players challenge themselves more too. Now, I remember reading through the Reddit, stickball was a bit of contention from some people. I know, as well as the roller derby, people were not as really impressed on having sports added into their Cyberpunk games. However, I'm going to say that I think people should give it a better chance. Honestly, stickball does have its own rule system of being able to score and additional actions. I mean, essentially with stickball, the way that they have it set up, it is like playing baseball in the street, but you can use guns. Not with actual ammunition, mind you, but with like a special kind of rubberized bullet, so people just get knocked out. So if you ever thought, hey, what can make America's pastime even better? Oh, throwing in guns. Then yeah, that's what you get for stickball. And I mean, any true American out there knows that we love our American pastime, and we love our guns. It does give the world more depth. You're absolutely right, DJ. Honestly, I think it would be fun to be able to find some people to play a round of stickball with. I may be just an inventor. I don't have a lot of strength, but I can bunt. I can still sprint like a motherfucker. Anyways, yeah, I mean, like, the major rules they have for the game are like no motorized vehicles. You can't have more than 3 people on your team on the field. You can't replace anybody who gets knocked out or injured. No one off the field's allowed to interfere with the game, right? You can't shoot the non-sanct. You can't shoot except with what is it? Yeah, you can only shoot with sanctioned rubber ammunition, and no methods of combat capable of causing critical injuries. So yeah, I feel that kind of like makes it fair. So you can still do some underhanded shit. You just can't like kill anybody while playing the game. That's the full point of cheating. But yeah, there is a lot of stuff they have for like being able to, try to get double plays, to stealing bases, to even guarding the bases against getting stolen. Honestly, the stickball here rules are probably some of the most well thought out TTRPG rules I've seen for sports integrated in. Outside of like a very few people I've seen for some D&D 5e. But even with that D&D 5e, like, there's a few times where I've seen them try to adapt a sport and I go, I don't think that really works that way. This one does feel pretty fun, to be honest. I honestly, if you've yet to try stickball or roller derby for your Cyberpunk Red, I feel like you're missing out, and you should definitely give it a try. If you're not going to get Volume 4, at least go to the Altasaurian website and get the free copy of Stickball, because it's definitely going to be worth your while. All right, next up, we've got... Oh, shit. Apparently, I just found out today that the Watson Whammers are playing the RC Roosters. Let's go, Roosters! Woo! Fucking love my Roosters. Watson sucks. Those fucking Watson whiners are going to try to pull some bullshit on my Rancho Coronado Roosters, and I ain't fucking putting up with that bullshit, all right? Not after what happened fucking last time with the Medtex pulling that bullshit at the fucking Pug Bowl. All right, Pug Bowl my ass. That fucking thing was fixed all to hell. You know, it was fucking full on bullshit on that game. You know, no fucking way should Biotechnica have won that entire fucking bowl. No, not a fucking chance. You know, there's some fucking fuckery going on in that. Yeah, you're right, Time Butt. The Watson fucking wankers. Whiner piece of shit. I missed this DLC, and I don't know why people haven't been talking about this. All right, has anybody here heard of the Punk Knot? Because I thought this at first too. When I was reading it, I was like, "Wow, this is really cool." That they added this, and then when I looked at the list that our Talsorian brought up of the free DLC that they had put in the book, this was one of them, and I found out that this is on the website for free. And why have I not been hearing people using this more often? Time, but you think this is a style over substance for the Punk Knot? I disagree. I think this is a great item, because here's the thing: the Punk Knot it's literally just a siege weapon, right? It is not meant to last outside of one major battle. It takes 4 weeks to make. It does take 4 weeks to make. Don't get me wrong. You're absolutely right. But let's also be honest. When we're playing campaigns, right? When we're playing campaigns, we can do other shit in between those 4 weeks. And I promise you this, there's a lot of times when you see this stuff in the movies, and there's usually a time lapse, however, but like, I feel like taking 4 weeks to make a Punk Knot could be worth it if it knows like the final battle kind of deal. It's like, it's really good for long-term plan. I think it's great if you know like you're gonna end up going into like, we're gonna be good fighting a big batch of guys, and how we're gonna take them out. Like if you can, like, what is it? Let's really think about it. If you're going to scout somebody out, right, you don't just scout somebody for a day. That's like a 1 to 2 week deal. All right. You got to learn patterns. You got to learn that kind of stuff, right? Being able to get all the supplies that you need to do a big raid. That's also going to take time. I think a lot of you have been spoiled on fucking Amazon, and you think Amazon's going to, like, there's the Amazon of, you know, Night City, where you can just suddenly call a drone in that they're not going to get suspicious on you. Fuck no. You got to be able to get that shit on your own. Problem is you got to plan it. Right, but I mean, this is, again, you can get this for free on our Talsorian games, but it's a good idea to have. Like, having this in a back pocket to understanding and be able to do it, though. You could start this off the bat, you know, especially as the tech. If I knew about this earlier, I probably could have been like early in campaign, been like, hey, I would like to make a Punk Knot, not power it up, but at least get like the frame, the build, so forth, all of that, you know, and then behind the scenes just do rolling checks, maybe pay a few bucks from whatever missions we were doing to like pay for any of whatever crew I would need to cover out the rest of it. Why can't you prime your Punk Knot? You can prime it all you want, but I'm just gonna be honest with you, DJ. Why would you want to fucking put any of that bullshit fake ass sports drink on your Punk Knot? You know, Prime is probably the worst, like, what is it, sports energy drink, whatever it is. I've tasted 3 different flavors. Not a single fucking one has ever been good. I gave it 3 fucking chances. I tried 3 different flavors, and they all fucking sucked. Oh, hey, Lobo. Haven't seen you in a minute. Good to see you. 4 weeks for one person. If you're at your point of the punk knot, you're not really using it outside to help build it. Oh, you don't gotta be sorry, Lobo. I've been buzzed for several hours already. I was high while I was making this. And I just ate a gummy, so I'm probably gonna be high for a while. Yeah, actually, I'm gonna go back to the thing, because it does. I mean, within it talking about it, it does say that it does take quite a bit of time. Building it requires a team of 10, but you just need to have at least just one tech. All right, and you can, in the rules, hire mercenaries and such. So I'm pretty sure it could be allowable to like pay for a couple of, you know, NPCs to come help you build some shit. Yeah, I just took a Decadose. Like a full Decadose. I don't know if that's good or not. I'm assuming that's like... What is that? It was like 10 gummies. I just took it all at once. 300? Am I fucked? Did I fuck up? Or am I like am I in for like a real chill night, or am I in for a oh fuck me night? What can I say? The shit they got around here is fucking high. Because typically a lot of people around here are high. I'm gonna green up. Oh shit. Oh shit. But I think you're one of the few people I've heard that's ever used the term green out like I have. I've used that term before, and people don't, like, when I say green out, they're like, what the fuck do you mean by green out? And I was like, oh, like, when like you have too much THC in your system and you pass right the fuck out. Like, you will forget shit that happened. Last time that happened was when I was in college, and I fucking took, I think it was like 4, maybe it was 5. It was 5 rips of honey oil, and I got fucked up. And the last thing I remember was walking home in the summer rain, and it was really hot out. So when the rain came, it was like lukewarm rain. So it was enough to like cool you off, but still like pretty warm. So I just like had taken my shirt off and was walking down the street in the rain with my shirt dangled over my side, and a cop pulled me over and asked if I was okay, and I was like, yeah, just going out for a walk, officer. I'm out in the rain. And he asked me why I had my shirt off. I was like, well, have you ever like walked out in the rain and just felt really good? I'm all for it. And he asked me if I wanted to ride home, and I said, yeah, sure. And he just drove me home. If I took 300, I'm probably gonna be cooked tomorrow too. Yeah, I got work tomorrow, so I'm probably gonna go into work fucking funky as all hell, obviously. He greened out and apparently cuddled and meowed. You know what? That actually reminds me of another story, DJ. There was a Christmas I remember that I got so fucked up. I was already smoking weed, and I think I went into my girlfriend's sister's kitchen, and they had this like one of those grocery store cookie containers that had a bunch of cookies in it, and it was already open. So I like snagged a few because the munchies hit me pretty bad, and I just like popped like 3 or 4 of them. And her sister came in a little while later and like started yelling at my girlfriend and was like, "Later, did you fucking eat these cookies?" And of course my girlfriend's like, "No, I didn't eat your cookies." And she goes, "Those were the cookies for the party. I'd already put in all the weed butter into them." I did not realize that. I didn't say a goddamn word, but when she said weed butter, I was like, "Oh, I'm fucked." And I was high from like the 23rd of December till the 26th of December. And I mean, when I say I was high for that long, like it's that long it took me to stop feeling like I was high. Like the first 2 days when I was driving, not when I was driving, my girlfriend ended up driving after that happened. But when like riding in the car, I was seeing just fucking trails of light like I was stuck in Tron. At the same time, we went to a party, and I thought I was just chill because I just sat on the couch, and I was just kind of like in my own space, and my girlfriend came up to me and was like, "Hey, Retro, you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine. Why?" He's like, she says, "Because you've been staring at the wall for like 8 hours. People have tried to talk to you and you haven't said a fucking thing." It's like, "Babe, you know I'm fucking high." And I fucking, we did have a bit of a fight, but I think she understood because I was like, "I'm high. I can't help that." Literally watching the paint dry. I mean, fucking should have. I don't know what I was. To me, it did not feel like I was like bored watching the paint dry. It literally to me felt like I sat down and for like 5 minutes I just kind of like zoned out. You know, you have that like weird little zone out where you're like, "Okay, I'm gonna be chill. I'm gonna be good. Everything's fine." And suddenly in that 5 fucking minutes, 8 hours went by. I don't believe it was 8 hours. I think she was making that up. I'm gonna say I think it was 4. Because we got there. Like in my memory, I remember we got there just as the sun was setting. So it was like around 6 or 7. And she came up to me about that when I know it would typically be dinner time because then I was like really hungry. So it was like, 10 o'clock. It was like 10 or 11, something like that. Because I remember going outside, having a cigarette, and my stomach rumbling. I'm like, fuck, I missed dinner. Where was I? Oh, shit. All this after fucking talking about the... Anyways, punk knots. That's right. There's several steps in making the punk knot, but it's very well worth it. I know that it can take some time, but a punk knot, I feel, can be done. I think it's something that could be set up for getting regular. And you know what? Honestly, I feel like GMs can find ways to make it go through faster. In fact, it could be very interesting for GMs to have maybe you could have your group find somebody that's already building a punk knot and steal that from them, and then just do the final finishing touches. You know what I mean? That could be something. Because, like, it's one of the things that I do like about the punk knot is that there is a lot here to, like, really customize it. Did I see the one-shot message above? No. What one-shot message? You're going to have you're having a one-shot next week? The stakes are high. Want to join? I'm going to say I do want to join, but I'm not going to make a promise at the moment. Only because at the moment she is enjoying watching Yellowstone right now, but my mom is staying with me for the time being. And you know, I think next week is the last week before she goes back up to Alaska. So I don't know what day it is yet. She hasn't really told me. But if she hasn't left, if she leaves before that, then it's probably yes. If she hasn't, then it's gonna be a no. That's only because she's going to Alaska for like 9 months. Well, I want to be there for one shots when I can, especially because now I can make some more interesting stuff. I mean, I've already been talking about it with Binary, and with our talk about so far with making the community characters, is that I think we were gonna try to make actual sheets for community characters, and share them with the no latency community out there, and reputable retrobates, because I can't sell anything as homebrew. Not for my lack of trying. But damn it. Oh, everything is starting to get hazy. It's really starting to kick in now. That Decadose of 300 is really going to kick my ass in. I fucking forgot where we were at again. Oh, shit. Alright, look. We're going to start fresh at this point. We're starting fresh at this point. I'm serious. We're serious now. Serious face. We're going to be serious. One of the new ones that they have, I do not believe this is one of the free DLCs. This one is very interesting. It is the corporate con, or I don't know how to pronounce this. Is it Canaps or Con Aparts or whatever? Corporate cons, and I'm just gonna call it corporate cunts and studio apartments. Anyways, this one I feel is very interesting for adding in more of a role play kind of deal, or even trying to like just flesh out lore of the city on like living areas, because it does talk about in this particular section the 10 synergetic corp areas that people are usually going to be living in, whether it be the Danger Gal housing facility in the Danger Zone, or Continental Brands Vertical Neighborhood. That's, I think, all the way up in I think that's in close to Little Europe. For that one, you've got the Militech corporate housing, Biotechnica's Habitation Sphere, which is where I'm pretty sure I was going to say the wrong person's name. I'm pretty sure Iona is living up in the Habitation Sphere. You got Network 54, where April Anonymous probably stays at. Petrochem, Solve Oil, Trauma Team's Corporate Living Center. Ironically, all the way across the city from where the major hospitals are. That's a little weird. You got the Hanging Gargan for Ziggurat. And you've also got the Zephyra Micro Village as well. There's, again, literally, they give you 10. And they have everything set up between living within your cargo container apartments to even living into like a corpo jerk fucking penthouse for these deals. You got Silverhand Studios, which was an old warehouse / film studio that they converted into their own little deal. Ironically, was considered to be done by Carrie Eurodyne, which was their legendary rocker boy in their own right, but kind of got blew out by Johnny Silverhand. Yeah, you'd think it was Johnny Silverhand, but no, it was Carrie Aerodyne who ended up actually making this one for it. Still managed by a cousin of one of Carrie's agents. But like, this is definitely like flop housing for artists trying to like get their rise up. Like where I would say that when people, what was that thing back in the 90s when people used to run up to Seattle because of the grunge phase and was like, we're gonna live in the like poor drug infested sections of Seattle so we can get that Nirvana feel. Wait, Time, but are you saying you want to do a J-break now? No. Time, but we're gonna do a J-break at the end of the review because I already promised DJ that we were gonna do Expedition 33 after this. And I'm gonna try to get to Act 1. So J-break's got to be at that point. But we will get a J-break in. I promise you. Anyways. So, in adding in more lore on just the areas as well as... Oop, I did it again. I was on the wrong one. What? Bohemian what? Wait, what? Bohemian what, DJ? What are we talking about here? Damn. Threw me off again. I've had 300 milligrams. That's absolutely true. You also forget, this ain't my first rodeo on riding a green out. Things are probably gonna get silly. Probably gonna say things that's gonna get me canceled. Big ups to Binary and having to deal with a little crash out that the internet's gonna deal with, but I can handle it. Because somebody ding me if it gets too bad. So one of the other things they do add in this, which I was talking about before for having as player comfort items or gear, is that they do add items that you can buy for your apartments here, such as like their version of like Kruger coffee makers, to soundproofing for your apartment, to even vacuum sweeping robots and shower heads. Oh, hey, Ruby. Good to see you. Haven't seen you in a minute. No, you didn't miss me. However, I don't have any water. Let me go get some water real quick. Well, I ran out of water, but I did find some more Irish Death in my fridge, so cheers to that. All right. There we are. Oh, no. It ain't liquor. It's just a very hearty stout, 8% alcohol. What do you mean, how do I run out of water? Water rations, my dude. This is Night City in the future. What are you thinking? Pfft, run out of water. All right, we got to get through these sections so we can get on to the game. Now, they also have Halloween scream sheets. I had someone ask me once what the point of the scream sheets were that they have in the Art Talsorian DLC stuff. And the thing with the scream sheets is that they're kind of like, I would say, a pre-build of a one-shot or like a very mini adventure. And the ones that they have here for Halloween, I think, are really good. They've got 3 pretty like engaging, spooky shorts. /1. They call them shorts. I call them one-shots. You saw someone abbreviate Cyberpunk as CP earlier and almost died. Should have asked them if they wanted cheese pizza, bro. But yeah, the 3 that they have here are pretty interesting. They give you just enough to kind of get you started, but as for the game master, you're gonna have to kind of build the end on your own. It gives you the majority of the rough idea plot, but you're gonna have to refine it. You're gonna have to refine that raw diamond. All this damn pollen is really getting to me. Ugh. Oh. Ugh. Don't do that, DJ. Don't do that. Nope. Nope. Mm-mm. Nope. Nope. I was just about to say a joke that was gonna get me canceled for sure on that one. Nope. Don't do that. Don't set me up. You're like, DJ's like my fucking Dennis Rodman for telling a joke that's gonna get me canceled. I swear to God. Anyways, Halloween scream sheets, pretty good if you're looking for a good idea to have a special one shot for your Halloween Cyberpunk Red. I definitely would check these out. 12 Days of Gearmas. Again, this is one of the free ones that they have on the Art Talsorian site. This is all cyberware that you can use. Most of it is very much of this kind of like, it has a weird little hunting theme to it, where it's like cameras, some traps, and it's like a weird mix of like Max Tech gear mixed in with I would assume like the original Running Man from what Stephen King was like talking about. 12 Days of Gearmas. Again, for me personally, I think that one also was I think the weaker one in the book for Volume 4. However, we finally got to the point that I think everybody here is really wanting. Everyone that's into Cyberpunk Red, they wanted to check out the most. Cyber Fists of Fury. That's right. We've got all. What did they say it was? It was like 36? Or was it 23? I think it was 23. Let me double check. Don't judge me, I'm high. Yeah, CPR. We gotta know the rules for doing chest compressions. 23. All right, so it's 23 new martial arts for Cyberpunk Red. Now, who here in chat has actually used martial arts in their Cyberpunk Red game? Don't feel bad if you haven't. There is a special set of rules that go with it. But has anyone here in chat actually used any of the martial arts within Cyberpunk Red? Oh, that was gross. I just had a burp that made me taste something that I don't think I've eaten in like 3 days. Well, at least Time Butt's honest, where the rest of you, I have no idea. But yeah, I don't agree with you. I've yet to be able to use martial arts in Cyberpunk Red. It is a little, it does take a little bit, but it's where we do get some of the fun stuff. So typically, when doing martial arts, it falls underneath. It's very similar rules to brawling. You had a player that used karate and just choked people out repeatedly. That's pretty good. It's pretty jank. Well, there is a reason why it takes you ×2 points to level up. Well, in using martial art attacks, you do get a rate of fire of 2, so you're gonna make 2 of the attacks, right? And it'll usually be, if you're the attacker, it's gonna be your dex plus whatever your martial arts is for the form, plus a d10, right? That'll go up against your defender's dex, whatever their evasion is, and whatever they roll, right? Now here's the interesting thing that I think only Demiplanes got set up, but like any other one that I've tried to use has yet to follow this up with. Your martial arts damage goes up according to your body score. All right. So if your body score is 4 or under, you can only do 1d6 damage per attack. 5 to 6, you get 2d6. 7 to 10, which is roughly if you're gonna max out right off the bat, which is gonna be 10, you get 3d6. But if you add, like, say, a linear frame or some other augmentation cyberware to get you over 10, anything of 11 and over, it's 4d6 flat. You could go to 15 body. I think that's possible now. But you cannot get any more than 4d6 for damage. If you succeed in the attack with the defender, you can use your special move resolution, which everybody is talking about. That's usually like what you were talking about, DJ. With karate, you could choke somebody out. Or with Taekwondo, you could create a critical injury, like your bone-breaking strike or your armor-breaking strikes, right? Well, let's check out some of the new systems they have. First up, what they call Arasaka Te. This is a martial art developed by Arasaka before the Fourth Corporate War. Supposedly the moves are so easy, they can be taught by anyone, which has made it very easy to franchise in dojos in many strip malls in Night City. I'll be honest, Arasaka Te is a little weak. They do have their 2 special moves that they come with. Is called one is Counter Strike, which requires you to take damage from either brawling martial arts or melee weapon. And it needs to also be on your turn. And it does allow you to drop an aimed shot, but only by -3. So your -8 goes to -5. So I feel it's a little weak. Very much time, but you're right. Arasakate, more like Arasaka. The other one is Escape Hold, which with a certain DV you can break a grapple, which I believe they already had kind of with Aikido. I think I have to double check with Aikido, but I thought they had something like that already. So yeah, very much of for Arasaka. Now here comes the next one. I think is one that I think is slept on, but will end up being very interesting. And somebody tell me if I pronounce this right. Arnis. This is a martial art from the Philippines with a focus on weapons. It's supposedly one of the deadliest martial arts on the planet. To me, honestly, in doing some of the research that I found on this, it's very much the same kind of style Nightwing uses with their Eskrima sticks. I think that's I think Eskrima sticks comes from this particular martial art. Two special moves that you get with this one is Coordinated Combination, which does allow you to cause a torn muscle critical injury without any bonus damage. That's for the Coordinated Combination. The other one is a Disarming Technique, where you can be able to cause both a melee weapon attack damage and disarm your opponent at the same time. So I think this one will be one that it gets slept on in the beginning and eventually will get picked up a little bit later. Mainly for, I think, the disarming technique. Coordinated Combination is nice, but the DV, I think, is a little high for the reward you get for it. All right, next up is boxing. It's very, straightforward. We all know boxing, right? Just punching and parrying. It's versatile within the simplicity of boxing, and just, your basic one if you just want to knock someone the fuck out. For the two special move resolvements you get for this one is the Knockout Punch. Now this one has a requirement where you need to have a body of 8 or higher. What's boxing? Is that a warehouse thing? Ruby, you spent 400 points to go drown somebody? That's pretty cheap. The Knockout Punch is a body 8 or higher in order to use. You will sacrifice making 2 attacks for 1. However, if you are able to use the Knockout Punch, you only take a -5 penalty to the check for a aimed attack. If you do, your target will suffer the broken jaw critical injury, including the damage as well. And if you're doing it at body 8, that's already going to be 3d6 damage. Including with the broken jaw, it's gonna add to it. However, with this though, if it's like with any critical injury, once you've caused that kind of critical injury, you can't cause it again. It doesn't stack in that way. Yeah, it's gonna be a -5. It's one of the reasons why, like, that's the kind of trade-off you get with the knockout punch. You don't get to do 2 attacks anymore, but it gets to be a -5 aim shot instead of a -8. Second one for boxing, which I think is also pretty fucking good, is your punch combination. The requirement for this one is, though, that you have to hit the target with 2 brawling attacks for this turn, right? With a punch combination, once per turn, when you fulfill the requirement of the 2 brawling attacks, you can use your martial arts resolution, which is the punch combination, to beat a certain DV. If you succeed, you can add a 3rd brawling attack against the opponent. So if you're able to reach the DV for this special move resolution, that's 3 attacks in brawling you can make using the punch combination. What they call the 1-2-3 combo. Our next martial art, which I think, DJ, this I think is your favorite. We have Capoeira. Hearts out to my favorite Capoeira fighter, Latif Crowder. Hope you make it out there, King. Capoeira is a martial art that has been based upon the Brazilian slaves and within the Caribbean as well. I'm just going off of what they typed here. Its flowing forms resemble a dance. Those who master it are capable of extreme fluidity in battle. I mean, honestly, I'm going to be honest. The clip that I was able to find here for the Capoeira, I think probably does the best out of most of the clips that I found here. Honestly, Capoeira, I feel, outside of Wushu, is probably the best looking martial art, I think, for cinema, people wanting to watch the fight. I mean, it looks fucking great, but to be honest, from everyone that I've met that does Capoeira, they're like, yeah, man, you better, like, this is not a multi-round thing. If you don't knock him out by round 1, you're gonna be gassed. You're gonna be gassed. You're fucked. However, with Capoeira, the 2 special moves you get for this is going to be your rhythmic recovery. You're right, Lobo. It did. It came from, it just pretty much came out of slavery altogether for Capoeira, for what I was doing my research on when I was wanting to get into it in my younger days. It came out of Africa, Brazil, Puerto Rico, Haiti, a lot of places where they had like plantations and such, because they would practice during the same time on their off time, and the reason why they call it the dance fighting is because it made it look like it was dancing, and so people just thought it was dancing instead of actual martial art. Well, you forget DJ. I mean, DJ, you're kind of right, but that's not rule 1. That's rule 3. Rule 1 is always rule of cool. Rule 1 is always rule of cool. If it's cool, then it always rules. Anyways, let's get to actually talk about the cool moves that you get to do with Capoeira in the Cyberpunk Red system, all right? So, with Capoeira, the special move that you get is going to end up being rhythmic recovery. So, with rhythmic recovery, the requirement is you need to have missed the target with your martial art attack this turn. If you miss, you can use rhythmic recovery. If you beat the DV, you get to make an additional brawling attack against the target as long as you're within melee range. So if you miss with capoeira, if you miss your martial arts attack and you're able to make this special move resolution, you can then make a brawling attack instead to make up for it. So kind of like you gotta switch off. The other one you get for capoeira is what they call slash dance. And you need to have inflicted a critical injury with either a light or medium melee weapon. Or you need to have used at least more than 3 luck points on an attack made. With the slash dance, once per turn, when you fulfill this requirement, you can use the special move resolution to beat the DV. If you succeed, you get to make an additional capoeira attack against the target within melee range. So, rhythmic recovery, if you miss, if you beat the DV, you get to make a brawling attack. And then with slash dance, if you've used at least 3 luck points on an attack, or if you've gotten hit with, or you've caused a critical injury with a lighter melee weapon, you can use capoeira in order to use slash dance to do a capoeira attack for your special move. John Wick Fu? Oh, okay. Okay, I know what you're talking about. I don't call it John Wick Fu. I go to the source that John Wick stole it from. But we'll get to that when we get to that. Our next one is Choi Li Fut. Choi Li Fut is a Chinese martial art possessing of great speed and versatility. Usually known for its sweeping attacks, its style has given it an advantage when fighting multiple opponents. For this one, the 2 moves they have are Shaolin Step, where you need to have a 6 or higher move. And you need to have at least dodged at some point during the fight. If you fulfill that requirement, you can take an additional run action. So you can use that to move for a second time in combat. I'm unsure if Sifu uses Choi Li Fut because I never played Sifu. You can't use run again. Correction, you can't use run again? No. It says here, as I'm reading on the same turn, it says here, once per turn when you fulfill this requirement, if you succeed, you may take the run action without it costing an action. If you do, you can't use the run action again on this turn. So to be fair, Time Butt, if you ran first, well, here, this is what I would argue, Time Butt, right? If you ran, okay, let's say you had a high enough I was gonna say reflection. If you had a high enough reflex, okay. Someone took a shot at you, you were able to dodge it, right? It says once per turn you fill in the requirement. If you did a running action, you could run up, hit somebody, right? Do your special arts, special move resolution, okay? If you succeed, you can take the run action again without it costing an action. And if you do, you can't use the run action again this turn. Ah, shit, you're right. It does say that. Damn it. All right, you caught me. You caught me on that. Damn it. Sometimes I forget those things, all right? I missed that part. I'm high. Literally. Time Butt's already got me on check. Did you already go out and buy it, Time Butt? I know it already dropped already. The other move that you get... Oh, okay, so Time Butt, you do know. Choi Li Fut is used in Sifu. The low punch move. You bought it, yes. The other cool move that you get with Choi Li Fut is what they call Sweeping Fist. Also, takes a 6 or higher move, but you need to have hit the target with 2 martial art attacks this turn for the Sweeping Fist. That one, once per turn, when you fulfill that, use beating the DV for the special move resolution, you can again make another single brawling attack against the target within melee range. So you can see that quite a few of these now have the ability to give an additional attack. I think so far we've seen that with Capoeira, Choi Li Fut, and boxing. Anis and Arasakate did not have that. But now we'll move on to one of my favorite fighting styles, Drunken Fist. We've never seen Drunken Master or The Legend of Drunken Master. I feel sorry for you. You should go out and watch it. Really is, I think, for me, the beginning rise for Jackie Chan. I fucking love Jackie Chan. I will be honest, some of the story of Drunken Master is a little problematic when I got older and realized some things. Still a good movie, nonetheless. With Drunken Fist, I mean, honestly, the way they made Drunken Fist is very much set for having Jackie Chan-like antics. The 2 special moves you get are environmental improvisation, all right, where you need to have a luck of 4 or higher, and it does say in the requirements that it refers to just your stat, not your current luck pool. So that means you could have a luck of 7 in your stat, but have used like 4, so now you're down to 3. You still can use this as underneath the requirement rules. Once per turn, in beating the special move resolution, if you succeed, you can choose an item or a piece of cover within melee range. If the GM agrees that that item or surface would be painful if used as a weapon, if one was to be slammed into it, as long as you're within melee range of that item or surface, your brawling attacks this turn ignore half the defender's armor. If it's particularly painful or surface is chosen, the GM may choose to improve your damage on the brawling table to reflect this up to a maximum of 4d6. So if you already have the maximum 4d6, then I don't think you can go any higher than that. Again, that's going to be up to your GM. But say you have a lower body, like if you have a body of, say, 5, where you're only getting 1d6, if you choose something that is particularly painful to get slammed into somebody, they can boost that damage up to 4d6 damage, which is going to hurt a lot in this game. 4d6. That is at least, what? 40. No, it's at least 24 damage. On completely. You know where to put that character, DJ. Put it in there. Since now we have this, we can get that set up. You can definitely get a Shield Maiden set up. The other special move you get for Drunken Fist is going to be Lucky Stumble. Again, with Drunken Fist, apparently you need to have a luck of 4. For Lucky Stumble, if you are attacked by if you're attacked by an attack that your character is not aware of, whenever you if you do have a luck of 4 or more, you can use your special move Resolution, even if you're unconscious or otherwise incapacitated. So if you have Drunken Fist, and if you are unconscious or incapacitated, and say somebody was to take an axe and swing at you, you could still use this. If you succeed, you can attempt to dodge the attack normally as if you had the ability to dodge bullets, even if you don't have the reflex to do so. If it's the first time this game session that you have succeeded in this special move, you can also choose to regain 2 of your spent luck points either immediately or at the beginning of your next turn. Your luck points can't ever go above your luck. So, with that particular move, if someone tries to attack you without you knowing it, and you beat the special resolution, not only do you get the chance to dodge it, but if you dodge it successfully, you will add at least 2 spent luck you've already spent for that turn. That is, I would say that's going to be a GM thing if you were to blindfold yourself, but I do see the path you're going down that time, but you're absolutely right. It does say for another requirement that you have to be attacked by an attack you're not aware of. So you can't be aware of it. That's why it's called the Lucky Stumble. All right. On to the next one, which is another one of DJ's favorites. The one they've been looking for the most. Gun Fu. As you can see here, the obviously superior to John Wick Fu. I took it upon myself. I believe when they were trying to make Gun Fu, they were going to use Gun Kata from Equilibrium. Gun Fu is a martial art that teaches equal parts of hand-to-hand combat and combat handgunnery. Deadly within enclosed spaces, it treats the handgun as an extension of the user's body. See, that line right there that they wrote there, it treats the handgun as an extension of the user's body, is what made me immediately go to Equilibrium, because that is an exact line from the movie that they use for teaching this. Honestly, if you've never seen Equilibrium, I highly suggest it. It is B-movie, B-movie gloriousness on how over the fucking top it is. And it is very well, I think it is definitely something that you would see in like a cyberpunk world. The 2 special moves you get with Gun Fu is a combat reload, where if you meet the requirements, if you beat the resolution, you can use the reload action to reload a weapon without costing an action. The other one you get is what they call the Woo technique, which is why I'm guessing that people are start calling it Gun Woo. Your handgun skill does need to be a level 4 or higher. Or if you're a solo, you need to have a combat awareness rank of 1. And you need to be holding a one-handed rate of fire 2 ranged weapon that's fired with the handgun skill. I'm assuming that they put that wording in specifically because there might be some weapons that use the handgun skill that you don't use, that isn't a handgun. So Shots ignore half armor. For using the Wu technique, if you succeed, you gain all of the following effects, which is at the range in which you can make a martial art attacks this turn is increased from melee range to 25 meters, yards, and so forth. The attacks are considered melee attacks, ignore half armor, and can be dodged by anyone, but even if they aren't typically capable of dodging bullets. So, they will ignore half armor, but it does give the ability for people to dodge, even if they don't have the reflex in order to dodge. The damage from your martial arts attacks are increased to match the damage of the weapon itself you use to fulfill the special moves requirement. So, with this particular one, again, this might be one for if you have a lower body, this would be very helpful for, because again, with martial arts attacks, it depends on what your body stat is, will determine your damage. If your handgun does more damage than your martial attack, it will use that. Your martial arts skill will be decreased, though, to the level of your handgun skill. If it is a higher level than your handgun skill. And then whenever you make a martial arts attack, ammunition will be removed from your weapon as if it was fired normally, and the effects of the ammunition will be still added to the martial arts attacks. So if you're using incendiary ammunition and so forth, that will be added to your attacks while using the Wu technique. Yes, it would be very... I could definitely see it with some Dante builds. You're absolutely right, Lobo. Absolutely. Gunfu seems really cool. I think that the Wu technique is something that we're gonna see, I think, quite often. I do think it's one that's gonna end up being more troublesome for GMs that are gonna have to be able to react to it. The other thing is, though, that if we're seeing now for these martial art techniques, remember, now not only are the players, you all, being able to use this, but, you know, your hardened lieutenants, your mini bosses, and even maybe final bosses are going to have these abilities too. You can see some jank builds being made. Oh yeah. Honestly, between me and y'all right now, I'm in the middle. After reading this, I was planning on myself. I'm trying to make rules up right now for making a combat tournament now that this is out. I'm trying to see if I can find some fellow Cyberpunk Red podcasters or creators and see about having a tournament to see who can make the most martial arts combat character. There are going to be rules, which is why I think, like, in that Gunfu might not be used so well, but maybe we could say that we use rubber bullets instead. But because we don't want to have any, like, I like it to have it more of just that, actual combat feel. But I think if we were to say rubber bullets instead of actual ammunition for Gunfu, I think would make it fair for it. The hard part is that I'm going to need to find, what is it? Whoever's going to be the GM is, of course, going to be the ref, right? And they're probably also going to be needing to do we're probably going to end up doing scoring, because we're not going to be going to a knockout. That's the thing. I'm definitely going to have it like 3 minutes per round. So people are going to have to roll fast and angry. And then also find some people to be commentators. That's going to be the difficult part. Bot be gone. Get the fuck out of here, you dumb bot. Alright. On to the next martial art. Jiu-Jitsu. Now, I thought the same thing too. I did study Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which is not the same thing as Jiu-Jitsu. Which is not... there are quite a bit of differences between the two. With Jiu-Jitsu, they keep specificity on it being a Japanese martial arts, redirecting the power against your opponent for their force. The special moves for these ones are going to be Aki. When you fulfill that requirement, you can, for the rest of the turn, use your opponent's body instead of your own when calculating damage when you deal with brawling and martial arts attacks against them. That actually would be, again, really good if you have a low body against someone that's going to be bigger. Brazilian was made by the what is it? It did spawn from the Gracie family. I think there were other people that did help in the creation, but I think most of it is attributed to the Gracie family, Lobo. So yeah, that Aki, I think, is actually pretty fucking good. The requirement is that you hit a target with a non-gunfu martial attack, and are about to damage them. That's the requirement in order to do this. So, yep, it would be very good against Borgs. Again, like if you have a smaller character, I think Jiu-Jitsu would be a very good one to pick, because you can use your opponent's body instead of your own to calculate the damage. The other one that you get with Jiu-Jitsu is called throwing technique, where you need to have a 6 or higher will. I will never be able to use this because my characters never have a willpower of 6 or higher, because I don't have a willpower that high. Once per turn in beating the resolution, if you succeed, you can use the throw action on the target in melee range that you attack the turn, even if you're not grappling them. You can then use that target's body stat instead of your own to deal the damage. Also, Sir Wick also fights Jiu-Jitsu. Well, what doesn't Wick fight? Alright? As far as I knew, John Wick only knew Kung Fu, because that's what he says to Morpheus. You can boost your will with a drug. You might, but then that also feels counterintuitive, because usually drugs take away from willpower. Because usually it's a willpower to resist torture drugs. Oh, that's weird. I just noticed in chat the Twitch bot censored out LMAO. That's weird. He used Jiu-Jitsu to disarm and break arms. Very clever, Lobo. I like that. Oh, you know what? Here. For you John Wick fans out there, there is a quote here from a NPC in the book that says, "The Wu technique is alternatively known as the Black Hand technique, the Wick technique, or the Gibbs technique, depending on the gunner doing the shooting." I don't know what Gibbs is. Is Gibbs gonna be? Because I can't remember if that is from Equilibrium. Is that from Equilibrium? No, I didn't think it was Gibbs, because, yeah. It's fucking Christian Bale. Yeah, Christian Bale, Sean Bean, Tate Diggs, Angus McFadden. Fucking Angus McFadden. They did Angus McFadden wrong in that movie. They didn't let him scream at all, which was sad. Angus McFadden has the greatest screaming voice. It makes me laugh every fucking time. I'm all for Angus McFadden. Hold on. I just threw my chat out of order. There we go. Okay. The next one, which is one that I know a lot of people have been chatting about, is Kendo. Now, I apologize for the GIF. To be honest, there were not a lot of really great GIFs of Kendo. But with Kendo being the way of the modern Japanese way of the sword, it is a martial art with a lineage tracing back to the age of the samurai. The warrior caste, not the band. The special moves you get with Kendo is Cut the Bullet, which is the one a lot of people have been talking about so far. You need a willpower of 8 or higher, and your melee weapon skill needs to be 6 or higher. You have to be made aware of your attacker. You must be wielding a melee weapon, being shot at with a ranged weapon using a standard single shot firing mode, or have been included in the initial blast radius of a ranged explosive weapon. So if someone's doing auto fire at you, you can't use Cut the Bullet. But if it's like a single shot, you can. If you complete the special move resolution against the opponent's attack check, the attack will do no damage. If you fail, the attack will hit you. And if it's explosive, then you become the center of the blast radius. You may draw an easily accessible melee weapon, such as one in a scabbard or a pop-up weapon, like you were talking about before with like pop-up shields for Shield Maiden. As that will satisfy the move's requirement. And you can stow it immediately afterwards without an action to cut the bullet. So you have the ability to cut a bullet, which will cause the attack to do no damage. But if you fail, the attack will hit you. And especially if it is an explosive attack, you will then become the center of the radius of damage. So if you have your other members around you, you now put them in dangerous way. So you cut the bullet. This sounds very powerful, but again, who do you know has a willpower of 8 or higher as a stat? That's going to take some serious stuff. The other one that you get with Kendo is called Kikentai on the Ichi. Only requirement is that you are in combat. Once per turn, if you fulfill the requirement on an action, you can use the resolution to beat a DV. If you succeed, the aim shot penalty on your first attack made with a melee weapon on your next turn will be reduced to a -2. So with like that one, I think honestly is better to me than Cut the Bullet. And I mean, unless you really want to put your will stat at that high, with Kikentai and Ichi, an aimed attack will be a -2 instead of a -8, which is really, really good. Insanely good. Moving on for our next martial art, Krav Maga. Israeli martial art combination technique of Aikido, boxing, judo, karate, and wrestling with a focus of adapting them into real-life self-defense situations. It does take an action for that for the Kendo. You're absolutely right. It is a combo. That's why I'm saying that the Kikentai is the next turn is reduced to -2. So, you know, you can definitely, I mean, like if you're doing melee in Cyberpunk Red, melee, I feel like a lot of melee players have to realize like their first turn more than likely they're going to be at a distance, so they're going to have to like spend a turn to close the distance, and I think you could definitely use that within that amount of time. I mean, to be honest here, a lot of people that are going to be using kendo are the same ones that are going to be using samurai swords and such anyways, so I think it's still going to be working with it. You know, it's one of the reasons why I'm excited about having more martial arts within Cyberpunk Red, because I feel like a lot of Cyberpunk Red is made to be ranged anyways, because there's not a lot of focus put on close combat unless it's like, you know, super highly focused for being like a street Ronin or something, or like a psycho killer type / with the mantis blades and all that. Ah, yes, time, but you have seen one of the tricks I was thinking of the Capoeira Krav Maga. With Krav Maga, you get the 2 bonus ones you get are contact combat, where you have inflicted a critical injury with Aikido, boxing, judo, karate, Krav Maga itself, or wrestling martial attacks. Or you've just completed a special move resolution already on this turn. If you fulfill it, you can make an additional brawling attack against a target that you've inflicted a critical injury already on. The other one that you get is called Punishing Blow, where you at least need to have dodged 1 melee attack since your last turn, and dodged all attacks that were targeted to you since your last turn. And now it says dodged all attacks that were targeted on you. So that means that if you didn't get targeted, I think you can still do this. With Punishing Blow, once per turn, if you succeed the move resolution, you can again make an additional brawling attack against a target that attacked you with a melee attack since your last turn. So either way, with the Krav Maga, whether somebody has, whether you've inflicted a critical injury or just using, or you were able to dodge, you can still make an additional attack with that. I'm massaging the hell out of that ruling. Look, it says literally the requirement, and TimeButt, call me if I'm out on this. It says you dodged at least 1 melee attack since your last turn, and dodged all attacks that were targeted on you since your last turn. The main one that it says is that you dodged at least 1 melee attack. So if nobody has made a melee attack against you, you can't use it. But if they've made 1 melee attack, and that means if they're the only one that made that melee attack, you've dodged all attacks that were targeted against you since your last turn. That's why I was saying, as long as you dodge that 1 melee attack, you're good. That's all that it needs to be. As long as you dodge that 1 melee attack, as long as if nobody else targets you, it still falls underneath the requirements. If you get shot, yeah, you're fucked, right? And you can't use Punishing Blow, but you know, that's the chance you're gonna take, unless you got your shield up. You got your pop-up shield, and then, well, no, wait, no, that's gonna be a GM rule. I can't rule on that. I personally would let it go through if you're able to use a pop-up shield to reflect the shot, but hey, that's just me. All right, on to the next one. Kung Fu. All right. With Kung Fu, it is an original Chinese martial art that ancestor of many other styles. When it's properly used, it's almost invincible. The 2 special moves that Kung Fu get is
5 forms. You need to have a Kung Fu skill level of 4 or higher. Now, with this one, instead of making 2 attacks with your martial attacks action, you can then make a 5 forms attack. And you could choose between 2 different options: crane, dragon, leopard, snake, and tiger.
Oh man, I just love watching chat argue it out. You guys keep arguing as I keep explaining this. It makes it more fun. Using your special move resolution against the target in a melee attack. If you hit, in addition to your martial arts damage, the attack gets an additional effect based on the first animal you choose. The next melee attack you make on a future turn during this combat gains the additional effect of the second animal you choose if it hits. So the first attack will get the first animal, the second attack will get the second animal. Now, with the 5 forms, like I said, there's crane. Crane means that if you deal damage, your target will suffer the damaged eye critical injury without any bonus damage. There's dragon, which adds +1 to the next attack check made against you against the target this combat, which means that's probably going to be a very good one people are going to use for their first attack. Leopard. Leopard says your move is increased by 2 until the end of your turn. Snake. You will regain 1 of your spent luck points. And then Tiger, which is all of your target's worn armor is ablated by an additional 1 point. So, Tiger will allow you to ablade more armor. Snake will get you 1 luck point. Leopard increases your move by 2. Dragon gives you a +1 on your next attack check. And Crane will automatically give damaged eye critical injury. The other special move that you get for Kung Fu is going to be Superior Stance. The only requirements for this one is it's your turn. You hit a target with a martial arts attack on this turn. If you beat the special move resolution for this one, which is honestly, I think the highest one, a DV17 compared to typically a DV15, with Superior Stance, you are automatically moved to the top of an initiative queue. So, if, let's say, someone has a Sandavestian, which of course is going to probably give them the fastest fucking initiative, with Superior Stance, if you beat a DV17, you have the ability to beat out a Sandavistian user in initiative, even after rolling. That's fucking nuts for Kung Fu. Not only Kung Fu, I feel is broken. Like, I'll be honest. Like, yes, some of them are pretty cool. You can cut a bullet with kendo. Many of the ones like boxing and capoeira and Krav Maga, you can deal. You almost get like an additional attack. Kung Fu, you get to make your attack and then add on extra damage for the 5 forms. And then not only that, the other one is you just have a Superior Stance, which means you just get to jump to the top of the initiative queue, even if someone is like a +23 to initiative. Insane. Insane. You're absolutely right, Lobo. Why invest in a Sandavestian when you could just roll a 17 in martial arts and have Superior Stance? Literally, all the requirements are is it's your turn, and you hit a target with a martial attacks this turn. I guarantee you, if you are able to beat a DV17, more than likely you're going to be able to hit a target with the martial attacks turn. It's true, Sandies are going to be considerably easier. But, and it is a heavy but, if you build it properly, Martial arts wise, still be pretty good. And say, well, I mean, again, you can use your money to rebuild your humanity. Have any of you ever gone to therapy in game? Honestly, it's well worth it. All right. I think this one might interest TimeButt. After we were talking about our last character created by the community, is Coyote. I don't know if I can pronounce this right. Kyoto? Is that how it's pronounced? Kyoto? It is a Japanese martial art of archery, often practiced as a competitive sport and a form of meditation. Modern age, however, the practitioners are trained in a special set of hand-to-hand moves designed to complement the bow. The special moves that you get for this martial art is Hasetu, where you just must not be prone or in a grapple. You must be wielding a weapon fired with the archery skill, and you may draw an easily accessible weapon fired with the archery skill as part of satisfying this requirement. So if you could quick draw, that will satisfy the requirement. Once per turn, when you fulfill this requirement as an action, you can use the resolution. If you beat the DV, you establish the Kyoto stance. While established in the stance, the damage of the first attack you make with a rate of fire 1 weapon fired with the archery skill will be increased by an additional 2d6. So if you have a bow that already is like a 4d6 and you're in the stance, it now turns into a 6d6 for damage. While also in the stance, if you move more than 6 yards on your turn, if you take damage from a melee attack, become grappled, prone, or disarmed, or combat ends, you will exit the stance. Caveat: being in a moving vehicle does not break your stance unless you are the driver. Establishing the stance is seen as an aggressive action, akin to drawing a firearm. So, if you think just making the stance is like, I'm just going to do the stance, I'm not holding the weapon yet, I'm just going to make the stance, it does state here that people will take that stance as if you were pulling a gun. The second move that you get for this particular special martial art is called I apologize if I'm fucking them up. Zateki. The requirement is that you need to have hit the target this turn with an aim shot mode with the weapon you're firing of the archery skill. So you need to have made an aimed shot in order to use this one. Once per turn, in fulfilling the requirement of the resolution, be a DV. If you succeed, you can gain 2 luck points. Again, another way to gain luck points back. I think I'm definitely gonna give big ups to Artel Saurian for finding ways to be able to give luck points back. Honestly, a lot of times in talking with people, they're very skittish about using luck points because they either didn't put a lot into the luck points or they kind of want to wait to use it as like a big burst on something that they feel is going to be really important. So being able to find a way to know that there's a chance to be able to get luck points back, I think is going to allow people to feel more comfortable using those luck points. And making it a martial art thing where it does cost more to upgrade, I think is a good trade-off. because then it will definitely feel like an investment, something that you are definitely going to be putting more into. All right. The next martial art is our Miltech Commando Training. This is a martial arts system developed by Militech to teach soldiers how to properly use their combat knives. And as you guessed it, the first special attack is combat knife training. Requirement is that you are attacking with a light or medium melee weapon as your first attack this turn. If you beat the resolution, if you succeed, till the end of turn, the damage with that melee weapon is increased to a 4d6. However, the rate of fire will be decreased to 1 instead of 2. Honestly, I think Jeb would probably like this one the most. They, of course, they do have their big knife. However, I haven't heard them use it in a long time. You should probably call them out in the Discord on, you should just straight up ask Jeb what happened to your big knife. But also at the same time, I think Jeb would probably use his combat shovel as well. And when was the last time we saw Jeb use the combat shovel? Time Butt, you're absolutely right with poison. But I think, Time Butt, since you also already picked up Volume 4, if we went back to, where was it? If we went back to Hornet's Pharmacy, right? You could use some of the stuff they have here in Hornet's Pharmacy. Because I didn't know about this until I read this, and apparently I missed this DLC till coming through. They've got delaying compounds where you can mix with a vial of poison or biotoxin as an action and can choose to delay the effects by either a minute to an hour after ingesting, absorbs, or otherwise takes the poison into their body. There's also a distilling, which allows you to increase the difficulty value by 2 for that same compound. Again, the one that I think is, to me, the most interesting, because just how my brain works, is the osmosis compound, where when mixing it, you just need to have it touch a person's skin. And I want you to think about this, of that if you are able to wear a glove of something like that and just slather some on the inside of your hand, and before you go to shake someone's hand, you just hold a drink in your hand, set it down with that hand, shake their hand, and then pick up the drink again, they would be none the wiser. Because they would think, oh, they just had a drink in their hand. Of course, that's why something felt a little weird. Believe me, options have opened up for me. Binary is going to be in for a bit of trouble for future retro. Grandpappy's Colt 45s ain't broke, so why fix it? I mean, you're right, DJ, but what happens when them 45s do break? They will eventually. All right, back to the commando training. With commando training, the second one that you get for commando training is going to be the disarm. You need to have 2 or more hands free in order to do your commando disarm. But if you're able to succeed, you can place one of the held weapons of your opponent into your own hands.
So like basically, if we're using commando disarm, if let's say I had it and God bless Sano. If Sano was to come back from the grave and attack me with their katana, and I used commando disarm, I could disarm Sano and use his own katana against his undead ass in the same reaction as if I hadn't yet taken an action. Which, I mean, honestly, yes, this Militech commando training, I think, is pretty fucking strong for people that are going to be melee weapon users. Honestly, I feel like this one is probably is much more interesting and probably is gonna end up being more useful than Kendo. Next one of my favorites in IRL, actual Muay Thai. I feel they did dirty with Muay Thai here. They put Muay Thai as a Thai martial art focused on striking. Those who train it undergo extreme body conditioning and often equally extreme cyberware installation. For them, they use conditioned ferocity. It needs to be your turn. You've damaged at least one target with a martial arts attack since the beginning of your turn. If you beat the DV, you can increase your brawling attack by 1d6 up to a maximum of 4d6, and all brawling attacks are made with a +1 bonus. So my question with that one is going to be, if you're already at 4d6, is Muay Thai going to be even worth it? Because it seems as if you already have a body that's already that high, you're not going to be able to get it any higher. The other one is going to be conditioned power. Again, it has to be your turn, and you have damaged someone with a brawling attack. If you are able to fulfill the requirements for that, again, it can increase your martial attacks this turn by 1d6, but you're going to be using brawling for this one instead of just martial arts attack. It is a bit lackluster. Honestly, for me, it feels a little upsetting for Muay Thai because I feel like Muay Thai should have gotten something like Taekwondo for like bone breaking, because Muay Thai is very much into doing strikes. Again, like a lot of times you want to aim for like joints, places where it's going to be more weak to bend. Like if you look at a lot of the kicks, like when people are doing low kicks, you're usually trying to aim for the back of the knee because you want to try to trip somebody up with that, Same thing with, like, if you're watching in the clip here, watch when he goes to block the attack. So he uses his hand on the back of his head because he wants to block with the forearm to keep up, because in using for Muay Thai strikes, people use fists, but I don't see enough people using their elbows. And a lot of times with a Muay Thai is that you're wanting to use your elbows because it's like how they say in the text, they don't explain it that much with Muay Thai. Your elbows are way stronger than your fists. Your fists, have fingers, digits. Those are going to break. You're more likely to break your hand, right, with doing a punch. However, if you've ever been side cross, hit with an elbow, more than likely you're going to get knocked the fuck out. So to me, I feel they did Muay Thai dirty. I feel like Muay Thai should have gotten a little bit more for their precision on that, because they are known for very heavy conditioning, but like Muay Thai hits are fucking hard and they hurt. Oh man, do they fucking hurt. I've boxed before, I've done military combat training,
But when sparring with Muay Thai, those fuckers can make you hurt. Oh, the welts I've got from those sons of bitches. All right, on to the next one. This is another interesting one. And I know a lot of people are looking forward to. Our multi-arm melee. This is a martial art developed by the residents of the Yukon Valley in the Free State of Alaska to stand a chance against Biotechnica's specially augmented bears and to win their fight against Petrochem. The two special moves that you get for multi-arm melee is Armed and Dangerous. Yes, Domino. I do not fail. So Armed and Dangerous, you need to have it be your turn. You need to have more arms than a target you're attacking with Brawling Attack. So technically, you could pull this off if you're able to remove an arm from your opponent and then use this move. But I mean, that's I feel like that's pushing the limits for that, but it does say that it just says it needs to be your turn and you need to have more arms than the target you're attacking with. Once per Brawling Attack, where you fulfill the requirement for this, if you beat the special move Resolution, it's a DV15 for the first time. If you try to use it again, it gets bumped up to a 17. You may choose one of the following for Armed and Dangerous. You can roll your dice to make your Brawling Attack and roll your D10 twice and take your favored result, so you can either take advantage. You can lower the penalty of making an aim shot with your Brawling Attack from a -8 to a -5. Or, if you are a solo, you can immediately reassign your combat awareness points without taking an action. That actually is really good for solos, being able to reassign combat awareness points if you feel like you have assigned them improperly for this fight is insanely good. The other one that you get for multi-arm attack, which again, I feel like there should be another combat thing that allows you to do this. Feels a little unfair, but it's called Smack Together. This one does require that you have a body 6 or higher, and that you are the attacker in 2 or more grapples. With Smack Together, once per turn, if you fulfill the requirements and beat the Resolution DV, if you succeed, you may deal your body stat directly to the hit points of everybody currently defending a grapple made by you. So, if you are able to grapple 2 or more people at once, if you have a body of 6 or higher and complete this, like let's say you just have a body of 6, you can automatically deal 6 damage to whoever you're grappled with. Doesn't matter what their armor is or not. They could have fucking heavy jack armor on, and it doesn't fucking matter. It'll fucking go right through them. That is also insanely good. This is definitely one that I feel people are going to probably try to find ways, especially solos, because that's so like the Armed and Dangerous to be able to reassign your combat awareness points. I think it's going to be something that people are going to be wanting. So people are going to try to find sneaky ways to get around it. Believe me, I think some of these forums are going to be popping up with that. The next one, I don't know how to feel about this one. I feel like there's potential for being semi-problematic. I mean, me personally, I'm not too offended by it, but I'm just I think I knew where they were going with it. The next one is called Panzerfaust, which to me, like when I read it, I was like, oh, this is just Panzerkunst from Battle Angel Alita. But it is a martial art developed by the FBCs, and its techniques are designed around unleashing enormous power of a metal body against a flesh body. The two special attacks that you get for Panzer Faust is going to be Borg Fist, which does require you to have a body of a 10 or higher. At this moment, Retro technically can do that. Retro has a body of 10. With Borg Fist, instead of making 2 attacks with your martial arts, you can choose to make a Borg Fist. Using my action to make an attack with that, and I complete the special move resolution, I can use it against a single target in melee range with a lower body than mine. If I succeed, I make a martial arts attack that deals 5d6 damage instead of its typical damage to the target. So that's one of the few things that I've found so far that has increased the 4d6 for martial arts damage. However, there is a caveat as well to the Borg Fist. So you get 5d6 to the target if you succeed. However, if you have less than 0 humanity, it becomes 6d6 damage. That is correct. This attack, if you hit and have less than 0 humanity, or, I mean, honestly, I don't think you can go under 0 humanity, so I'm just assuming that you need to have 0 humanity, does more damage than a grenade or a rocket. There, you get an additional d6. You only get to make 1 attack. You can go under 0? Okay, well, I guess you can't. I thought you could only go to 0. Because once you get to 0, you're practically Cyber Psycho. But I've yet to find any other weapon that I think is more than 66. Aside from maybe like 1 or 2 exotic. Or you having to make like an aim shot. If you go under 0, you lose your character sheet. Well, time, but if you lose your character sheet, doesn't that just mean that, like, I mean, you pretty much lost your character? I'm wondering if that's going to be something that's more of like just for Cyber Psychos then. The other thing that you get with Panzer Faust for the second special attack that you get for that is called Inner Chrome. Oh, the DM controls your character to the worst impulses? Oh boy. With Inner Chrome, your requirement is that you need to have a full body conversion or have less than 0 humanity. You need to be in combat. At least 1 piece of cyberware has been damaged, disabled, or rendered inoperable, such as with an EMP, to use this ability called Inner Chrome. You can use it once per turn, and after completing the resolution of a DV11, it does add on though that it's +2 to the DV for every piece of cyberware that's been damaged, disabled, or rendered inoperable. If you succeed, your damaged, disabled, or otherwise inoperable cyberware is no longer any of those things and is in fact operable until the end of combat. Until your next turn, again, your cyberware will be immune to being damaged, disabled, or rendered inoperable. And if you have less than 0 humanity and you succeed, and the DV you succeeded against was 15 or higher, these immunities extend until the end of combat and extend to the cyberware being destroyed or destroyed beyond repair. So if you go below, if you go full Cyber Psycho, and you complete that DV, that cyberware cannot be destroyed until the end of combat. That is incredibly strong. But again, you need to go Cyber Psycho just to be able to do it. Next one we have is Silat. Silat, I remember from one of my favorite fighting characters, Sagat. He said that his fighting style was Silat. They say here that it is a natural fusion of indigenous martial arts from Southeast Asia, comprising of hundreds of different styles together. It is variable as the fighters that practice it. Oh yeah, no, like for sure. Panzerfaust is probably going to be seen quite a bit more now. Again, I think having some more characters as well as bosses that fight hand to hand than using guns is going to change up tactics for people that are going to realize, oh, we can't just shoot out of everything. We're going to need to find ways around it. Which again will then add to people wanting to use more martial arts. So it's a win-win. It's a win-win in my book. With Silat, you're gonna get internal power. You need to have a will of 6 or higher, and you need to have hit the same target with 2 martial art attacks, or with light medium weapons. If you are able to succeed the special move resolution, you get to add an additional brawling attack within melee range. The other one that you get is called Violent Leverage. It needs to be your turn, and you need to have started a grapple with a target that you have yet to grapple with this battle. If you're able to pass the DV for it, you get to make a grapple and make an additional melee weapon attack against the same person you're grappling. Again, seems as if it's made to just, again, add an additional attack to your stuff. Moving on to Solve System. This is the direct successor of Command Sambo, the martial art previously taught to the Red Army, and which has been molded by good old Company Red Solve Oil in a single-minded effort to create a commercial martial art more popular than Arasaka Te. With the Solve System, oh god, this system. Alright. Special moves you get with the Solve System. First one, right off the bat. Dirty Blow. Only requirement, you need to have a body of 4 or higher. Instead of making 2 attacks with your martial arts action, you can instead make a Dirty Blow. If you hit, your target will suffer a randomly rolled body critical injury in addition to martial arts attack damage. Whenever this causes the foreign object critical injury, the victim will roll again on the body critical injury table and suffer that critical injury instead. So, if you roll the critical injury and they get foreign object critical injury, they will roll it again, so they won't have that. That's just the Dirty Blow. The second one is Revenge Strike. Again, body of 4 or higher. It needs to be your turn, and you need to have, and this is like you have received a critical injury from a melee attack or a martial arts special move since your last turn. So you need to have a critical injury have happen to you. If you do have a critical injury happen to you while having the Solve System, and you succeed in your resolution, you got to make an additional martial arts attack against the target that satisfies the second sentence of the requirement. If it causes a critical injury, you will get an additional 2 spent luck points. So, Solve System allows you to just critical injury the fuck out of each other, and then like the final one, of course, just would like, and if you do it, we're gonna give you more luck. Solve System is really good. Honestly, I'd take the Dirty Blow. That one right there, that Dirty Blow, honestly, I could definitely see for like people that have low body should invest. I think that the Dirty Blow is a great one. If you have a low body count for your stat, that is a good one to protect your ass if somebody gets in close. Now comes my third favorite martial art. Sumo. That's right. What, you didn't think Sumo was going to be on here? Get the fuck out. Sumo, of course, was always going to be on this sumbitch. I'm going to show you how powerful Sumo is, especially in this. This is a traditional, well-loved Japanese wrestling martial art focused on moving your opponent with the full force of your body. The two special moves that you get with Sumo is Deshi. Your body needs to be 7 or higher, and you're about to either be grappled or thrown. If you fulfill the requirement and the resolution for this, you are no longer grappled, they cannot throw you, and you can move not only yourself, but the target trying to throw you up to 6 yards in a direction of your choice. So you got somebody that's trying to put you in a rear naked choke, you could be like, nah fam, that ain't gonna happen. And just casually grasp that motherfucker and push him 6 yards with yourself. You could straight up throw him off a motherfucking cliff. That's how you treat sumo anyway. If you go outside that ring, it's like you have fallen off the social cliff already. The other special attack that you get for using sumo is called Nerame. You need to have a cool of 4 or higher. This is the first one, and I think the only one I've found so far where it's the only one that uses actual cool. All right, so you need to have a cool of 4 or higher, and you're in a face down. Whenever you fulfill the requirement and the resolution, attempt to beat a DV15. This will give your face down an additional +2. And I'll be honest, I feel like face downs aren't used enough. Like, you can use these face downs to get yourself out of some problematic fights. If it's like you and your team of 3 and you find a booster gang that's going to be like 10 or more, you can use a face down to get the motherfuckers to back off. Using Nerame, it's just going to add to your chances that you can pull that off. And honestly, I feel like there should be a system where if you win enough face downs, your rep should go up. I honestly feel like there should be a system that your rep should go up whenever you win a certain amount of face downs, because it would make sense that people would be like, "Oh no, fuck that! You hear that? You hear the vampires? They walk right through vampire territory. Not even the bozos will deal with them. You know, if you heard that stuff and you saw them walking on your territory, you think that you're gonna try to fuck with them? Not a chance. All right, now don't go crazy, chat. I know this is the martial art everybody loves, probably the most dangerous martial art, well practiced, more than half a billion people practice this every day. Tai Chi. Tai Chi is a martial art that seeks to redirect or otherwise thwart incoming attacks while maintaining some inner balance. The special moves that you get with Tai Chi is joint manipulation. Only requirement is that someone is within melee range of you, has missed with a melee attack. If they do, and you beat the DV of 15, you get to choose one of your attacker's hands. They will be unable to use that hand, whatever hand you choose, they will be unable to use that hand until the end of their next turn. The end of their next turn, and it does not cause your attacker to drop anything that's held by that hand. The other special move that you get for Tai Chi is Lu. This is pretty high though. Again, willpower of 8 or higher, and someone within melee range of you has just successfully made a special move resolution. So if you have an 8 or higher and someone just passed their move resolution, if you use this this particular special art called Lu, you get to make the resolution against the DV equal. Sorry. Oh, damn. Alright, that Decados is definitely hitting out. Oh, boy. Sorry. In using Lu, you get to make a special move resolution against the same DV your opponent just rolled against. If you succeed, your opponent's special move fails unless they immediately respond by using Lu themselves and beat the same DV established by yours. So, if they, like, say someone goes and uses Dirty Blow against you from the Sov system, if you have Tai Chi, you can use Lu, and you can cancel it out. However, if they also have Tai Chi, they can use Lu to cancel out your Lu. This is, if you're a Magic the Gathering kind of nerd, this is essentially Counterspell. Or sorry, even D&D. Lu is just Counterspell. I swear. Just yeah, there's people that are gonna definitely be using that just to counterspell. Oh. All right, we're getting close to the end. There's only 3. I think there's 3 left. Yeah, there's like 3 left. The next special arts, the next martial arts is gonna be Thamok. This is a modern martial art, sometimes called the art of modern confrontation, as it's created to train police departments in weapon retention and grappling in an effort to lower officer mortality rates. With Thamok, you get 2 special moves. First is advantage position. It needs to be your turn, and your attacker is in a grapple. Once per turn, if you complete the resolution and succeed, you lower the penalty incurred by making an aim shot against a target you're grappling with a martial arts or melee attack from an 8 to a 5 for the rest of your turn. The other thing that you get with Thamok is weapon retention. This one is very interesting. Again, this one I think solos might like. The requirement is that you're about to be disarmed of a weapon by any means. Whenever you fulfill the requirement, if someone's about to steal your weapon and you beat the special move resolution, your weapon cannot be removed from your hands. So, if someone is able to pull off one of the moves that is able to disarm you or even take your weapon from you, this, with a DV15, can cause it so that you will not lose your weapon. Timebot, if you think this one's amazing, just wait till you see what I picked for the next one. Because I didn't know what to choose for this, but goddamn if I didn't try. Our second to last one, which honestly I'm so jazzed to hear somebody try to describe what it's going to look like. It's called Thrash Sambo. Thrash Sambo is a recently developed martial art fusion of Command Sambo and Thrash Boxing, a dance-inspired fighting style born in the nightclubs of Eastern Europe in the 2020s. Honestly, I was trying to find the GIF of the that one famously now gay gentleman who's doing that like squat kick dance while flipping their hands back and forth, but I couldn't find it. With Thrash Sambo, the two special moves that you get, the first one is called Grit. This one, the requirement is that you're about to suffer critical injury. If you're able to succeed, you will take no bonus damage from a critical injury, but you will still suffer the effects of the critical injury. That's kind of okay. But like, honestly, like damage, the bonus damage does kind of suck, but it's usually the effects that are the ones that are gonna like screw you over in the end. The other one that you get for Thrash Sambo is called Thick Skin. And the only requirement for that one is that you're taking damage from a melee attack. It says melee attack. I'm assuming that could either be like a brawling martial arts or even a melee weapon. Whenever you fulfill the requirement and you have the resolution passed, if you succeed, the damage you take from the melee attack is reduced by 2, or it's reduced by 4 if it's a martial arts attack. That's pretty interesting. And then finally, we have wrestling. Wrestling is one of the oldest martial arts as its focus is on grappling an opponent and holding them down. The appeal is obvious and straightforward, so it is widely practiced. The two special moves you get for wrestling is chokehold. Only requirements are it is your turn, you're the attacker, and in a grapple and haven't used the choke action this turn. If you use chokehold once per turn by beating the resolution of a DV15, if you succeed, you may use the choke action. You cannot use the choke action against the same target again this turn. The other one you get for wrestling is called reversal. Again, it needs to be your turn and you're defending in a grapple. Once per turn, if you beat the resolution of a DV15, you can swap the grapple. So if you're being grappled and you use reversal, you now will become the attacker in the grapple, and the person that was attacking you will become the defender. Again, could be very, very good, especially with some of these martial arts that do put you in grapple. This can be very good in using it against them. I see wrestling. Wrestling, I feel, is going to be like a secondary utility. I feel like I don't think it'll be a main focus. In all honesty, it does make me want to create my own version of wrestling, but I want to use the sports entertainment version of wrestling, not actual wrestling. Because my plan is that I would love just to make a rocker boy wrestler, and just be able to find a way to like working with the crowd. Like if there's a large pop for them with the crowd, they can progressively get stronger. But if the crowd is like against, like is not on their side or neutral, or like seeming like they're bored, or is even if the crowd is like not against either one but is like bored or something, then they take a small penalty to them. And then if they're into their opponent more than they're into them, then it really gets bad. I was thinking about that, and I think that would be really interesting to have. But I don't know the best way of writing that, so I'm going to try to find some people for help. But that is the end for Interface Red Volume 4. Thanks again to Artalsorian. Thanks again to Rob Barefoot for putting me on for the press list to be able to review this. I thank you all so much. Appreciate it. I feel honored to be allowed to make a review on it. So again, thank you very much. Now, where is DJ? Because I know DJ really wants me to play Clair Obscur. But I also don't know if I'm not high enough for it. Actually, yeah, see, this is the point where I feel bad. Like, I now notice it's like almost 8 o'clock. And I've got work tomorrow. DJ was saying it's going to take me roughly about 4 to 5 hours to get to the first act, and I don't want to stay up that late, unfortunately. Because yeah, work starts at 6 in the morning. Oof. On Fridays suck now. Ugh. Also, again, super sorry for not being able to stream yesterday, but it's kind of good that I guess we didn't, because I was gonna stream yesterday. However, somebody set off the fire alarm here in the building. We weren't allowed back in for like 2 hours as the fire department was here, and I think they went through everybody's room. I'm surprised though. I don't know like why they had to go through everybody's apartment, but for some reason I guess they did. I don't know why they couldn't just have had it localized, but yeah, it took about 2 hours until eventually we were let back in. At the same time, I was talking with Rob from Artel Saurian, and they said that they would be willing to send me the actual Volume 4, in which they sent me this morning, which was very, very kind of them, and I appreciate it again from them. So thanks again, Rob. Again, thanks again, Artel Saurian, for letting me do that. I know that you were talking about it just kind of like suddenly got dropped today, and you're trying to get the word out because there was no embargo for the press stuff. I'm gonna try to press it as much as I can for doing my streaming. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and call it a night. That Decados is probably about to just knock me out. I'm honestly holding on strings. Timebut knows. I'm literally using tape to hold my eyelids up. But thanks again for everybody for stopping by. Hopefully being able to check out Volume 4 was informative and entertaining. DJ, I'm sorry I couldn't stream tonight, but I'll get you next week. I promise. I'll get you next week. I promise you. I specifically got Expedition 33 because I know you wanted me to play it, and I want to do a long play for you, so I'm gonna get it for you, buddy. But Lobo, thanks again for dropping by. It's always nice to see you. Ruby, it's been forever. Miss you. I promise you I'm gonna be doing the Surge too. I also have that on the list. It's soon to be able to be played. Timebut, always a pleasure to have you in the chat. DJ, Master Clipper, thank you again. I will get to you. Till then, Night City, you have a very good night.